Stop waiting for motivation. Stop praying for the perfect moment. Stop fantasizing about success as if it's a gift. Life does not reward dreamers. It rewards the ones who show up day after day, even when the fire is low, even when the world is noisy, even when no one claps. Consistency is the ultimate weapon because it eliminates the need for inspiration. When you force yourself to act every single day, you build a rhythm so powerful that hesitation dies, fear loses its grip, and weakness has no place to hide. Every disciplined step you take becomes a silent vote for the person you want to become, and those votes turn into habits, and those habits turn into identity. And identity shapes destiny. You want success? Then earn it through relentless repetition. Show up stronger than your excuses, louder than your doubts, and more faithful to your goals than to your feelings. Build a routine so solid that even your bad days outperform your old good days. When consistency becomes your lifestyle, success has no escape route. It will be forced to collide with you. Consistency is the doorway through which every dream must pass. And if you don't walk through it every single day with discipline burning in your chest, your dreams will remain nothing more than distant fantasies mocking you from the other side. Consistency is the test life gives before it hands over achievement. It's the silent battlefield where most people lose because they wait for comfort, they wait for motivation, they wait for the perfect mood, and in that waiting, they waste their entire potential. You crush that weakness the moment you decide that your actions will no longer depend on feelings. You rise, you move, you execute, not because it feels good, but because it is required. Every great life is built on painfully repetitive effort that no one sees, no one praises, and no one celebrates. The world only sees the summit, but consistency is the climb. When you force yourself to show up daily, something brutal and powerful happens. You start killing off the old version of yourself. The lazy self, the excuse-driven self, the distracted self. Each day of consistency is a day you suffocate those weaknesses and elevate the warrior inside you. You stop negotiating with your excuses, you stop giving power to your doubts, and you stop handing your life over to hesitation. You become someone who moves with purpose whether the sky is clear or the world is collapsing. That is the mindset that separates the achievers from the average. The average rely on mood, the achievers rely on discipline. And discipline is the cousin of consistency, both working together to transform potential into results. Consistency builds an invisible momentum that does not announce itself at first. It's boring in the beginning. It's slow. It feels like nothing is happening. That's why most people quit. They mistake silence for failure. But every rep, every page read, every plan executed, every hour of focus is stacking up behind you, forming a force that eventually becomes unstoppable. You don't see success growing, but it's growing every time you choose action over comfort. And then one day, the results break through like a storm and everyone calls you lucky, gifted, special. They don't understand that the real magic happened on days when you wanted to quit but kept going anyway. When you live with consistency, the world starts to bend in your favor. Opportunities appear where none existed. Skills improve without you realizing it. Your mind sharpens. Your energy strengthens. You start trusting yourself because you have evidence that you follow through. Self-confidence is not given by motivational speeches. It is earned through kept promises. Every day you stay consistent, you are proving to yourself that you can rely on you. And when you trust yourself, you become dangerous because nothing can shake a person who knows they will keep showing up regardless of circumstances. Success is never a one-time explosion of effort. It's a daily drip of discipline. People chase intensity. They want to work hard for a week and expect glory, but intensity fades. Consistency multiplies. 1 hour of focus repeated every day destroys 10 hours of random effort done once in a while. Success is math, not mystery. You repeat the right actions long enough and the results become guaranteed. Life rewards the persistent, not the dramatic. It rewards the ones who grind quietly, not the ones who talk loudly. Consistency is a contract you sign with your future self, promising that you will deliver the effort required no matter how heavy your doubts become. If you truly want success to follow you, you must create a lifestyle where effort is automatic. You build routines so solid that even your worst days outperform the old version of you. You create habits that pull you forward even when your emotions try to hold you back. You establish standards that don't drop just because you feel tired or discouraged. That is when consistency becomes your identity, not just your behavior. You don't try to be consistent, you are consistent. And when identity shifts, reality follows. The truth is simple. Dreams don't respond to talent, they respond to repeated effort. The person who works every day will always outrun the person who works only when they feel like it. Consistency is the great equalizer. It makes average people extraordinary. It turns slow progress into unstoppable achievement. It transforms ordinary days into a lifetime of greatness. You don't need perfection, you need persistence. You don't need massive steps, you need daily steps. And you don't need natural motivation, you need forced discipline until discipline becomes natural. So stand up and take control of your life. Stop lying to yourself. Stop waiting for inspiration. Stop letting your feelings drive your future. Force consistency into your days. Build the habits that your success requires. Do the work no matter how small it feels. Keep showing up even when your mind complains. Build momentum so powerful that quitting becomes impossible. Because once consistency takes over your life, success has only one path left. It must follow you. Daily disciplined action is the only real proof of desire, because anything less is just noise, empty wishes, hollow promises, fantasies spoken by people who will never taste the life they claim they want. Desire means nothing if it never becomes movement. Talk means nothing if it never becomes execution. Dreams mean nothing if they never become sweat. The world doesn't care what you say you want. It cares what you are willing to repeatedly do when no one is watching, when the excitement is gone, when motivation has evaporated and the only thing left is your willingness to push through the resistance of your own mind. That is where the truth of your desire is exposed. If you take action once in a while, your desire is weak. If you take action every day, your desire is unbreakable. Discipline is the bridge between wanting something and becoming someone. It forces you to rise before excuses start whispering. It pushes you through discomfort before weakness starts negotiating. It makes you act even when your emotions beg you to delay. Every time you follow discipline instead of feeling, you prove that your desire is real. You prove to yourself that you're not here to play small, not here to wait for miracles, not here to rely on luck or circumstances. You're here to create the life you demand. And creation requires daily effort, consistent, relentless, unwavering effort. Anyone can want success, but only a few are willing to endure the repetition required to earn it. Those few are the ones the world eventually calls unstoppable. Desire without discipline is self-deception. It's pretending you care while doing nothing that shows you care. You can tell yourself all day that you want growth, but if you avoid the work, you don't want growth. You want the comfort of imagining growth. You say you want to be strong, but if you skip the grind, you want the appearance of strength, not the reality of it. Daily disciplined action strips away the illusions and reveals your true intentions. It is the purest form of honesty. You cannot fake daily work. You cannot cheat consistency. You cannot lie to repetition. Your actions tell the truth even when your words try to disguise it. Each disciplined day is a brick in the foundation of your future. One brick looks small, even insignificant, but brick after brick becomes a wall, and wall after wall becomes a fortress. That is how success is built, one disciplined decision at a time. Most people fail because they want the fortress without laying the bricks. They want the results without the repetition. They crave the reward but refuse the routine. They chase shortcuts that do not exist. And because they cannot commit to daily action, they remain trapped in the same patterns, the same excuses, the same mediocre outcomes. You break that trap the moment you commit to showing up every single day with conviction and intensity. Daily disciplined action changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who does. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. Over time, discipline becomes automatic. The resistance becomes weaker. The hesitation becomes smaller. What once felt impossible becomes normal, and what once felt heavy becomes light. Discipline reshapes your mind, strengthens your character, and hardens your spirit. You stop being controlled by your moods, your fears, your doubts. You become controlled by your purpose. And once purpose takes command, your life shifts from randomness to direction, from chaos to structure, from dreaming to achieving. The truth is simple and brutal. Real desire demands proof, and that proof is paid in daily effort. Not occasional effort, not when I feel ready effort, not once motivation hits effort. Daily effort, the kind of effort that ignores excuses, the kind that defies fatigue, the kind that continues even when progress is invisible and results are distant. That's the level of commitment that transforms a wish into a mission, and missions are completed while wishes are forgotten. When you act daily, something remarkable happens. You build trust with yourself. You no longer doubt your ability because you have evidence that you follow through. You no longer hesitate because you have history proving your consistency. Confidence grows not from talking, but from doing. Every day you take action, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, disciplined, and worthy of the success you seek. That belief becomes power. It becomes fuel. It becomes the force that pushes you through challenges that would break the average person. Daily disciplined action also separates you from the crowd. While others are distracted, you're focused. While others are inconsistent, you're relentless. While others waste time wishing for better days, you're building better days with your own hands. Success begins to bend toward you because discipline makes you impossible to ignore. Opportunities open because you are prepared. Momentum grows because you stay in motion. Strength builds because you refuse stagnation. Consistency multiplies your results until the world can no longer overlook your effort. If you truly desire something, health, success, mastery, transformation, you must prove it with action so consistent it becomes unbreakable. Let your daily grind be your signature. Let your discipline be your weapon. Let your effort be the loudest declaration of your ambition. Because when you show up every single day, when you do the work no matter how heavy your mind feels, when you choose progress over excuses without fail, your desire becomes destiny. And destiny only bends for those who earn it with relentless, disciplined daily action. Small, repeated efforts compound into unstoppable momentum. And anyone who underestimates the power of the small things is already losing the game of life. You don't need massive breakthroughs. You don't need explosive progress. You don't need a dramatic transformation overnight. All you need is the discipline to hit the target every single day, even if the shot is small, even if the progress is barely visible, even if no one notices but you. The world glorifies big wins, but big wins are nothing more than the echo of thousands of tiny actions stacked on top of each other with relentless consistency. Every small effort is a seed, and seeds do not look powerful. But when planted daily, they grow roots that cannot be pulled out and results that cannot be denied. Momentum is not born from inspiration. Momentum is born from repetition. You wake up, you do the work, you push a little more, you learn a little more, you improve a little more, and those small increments begin to accumulate with a silent force that compounds. You don't see it at first. It feels like nothing is moving. It feels like your energy is wasted. It feels like the mountain is too tall. That is where most people quit. They stop before the compounding effect has a chance to kick in. They think small progress means no progress. But the truth is brutal. Greatness is built in quiet, invisible increments long before it ever shows up in public. If you quit early, you kill the momentum before it even starts breathing. Every day you take one small step, you're adding another gear to your internal engine. At first the engine turns slowly, then it picks up speed, then it becomes smooth, then it becomes powerful, and eventually it becomes unstoppable. That's momentum. An inner force that multiplies the value of every action you take. When you reach that state, you don't need motivation anymore. The momentum itself pulls you forward. What was once hard becomes natural. What was once exhausting becomes routine. What was once overwhelming becomes effortless. But this momentum only appears for those who keep stacking small efforts without skipping, without delaying, without making excuse after excuse. Small efforts are the secret weapon of high achievers because they understand that consistency beats intensity. Intensity is emotional. It comes and goes. Consistency is strategic. It stays. You can give 100% one day and disappear for the next 10, or you can give 5% every day for a year. The second strategy builds empires. The first builds nothing but disappointment. Momentum doesn't come from how hard you work once. It comes from how often you work continually. Your brain, your body, your habits, they all adapt to repetition. Every small positive action strengthens a pathway, and every repeated pathway becomes a habit, and every habit becomes a force shaping your destiny. The beauty of small repeated effort is that it eliminates excuses. You don't need perfect conditions to take a small step. You don't need hours of free time. You don't need incredible talent. You don't need to feel amazing. You just need to do something. Something that moves you forward, even a little. These tiny actions are disrespectful to procrastination. They are the enemy of stagnation. They keep your goals alive. They keep your focus sharp. They keep your mind committed. The moment you allow even a small step to be too small to matter, that is the moment your momentum dies. But when you protect the small steps with the same seriousness as the big ones, your momentum becomes bulletproof. Over time, those small efforts start to build a rhythm, an internal momentum that begins to hardwire success into your identity. When you're in motion, new ideas come. Solutions appear. Your confidence grows because you see evidence of your commitment. You stop being controlled by fear because your daily work proves you are capable. You stop being overwhelmed because momentum splits big problems into manageable actions. You stop doubting yourself because your results, no matter how small, begin to accumulate into undeniable progress. This is why unstoppable people always start small. They don't chase perfection, they chase progress. They don't wait for motivation, they create momentum. They understand that every legend began with steps so small that nobody cared. Every master started where they were, with little skill and little progress, until those small actions turned into mastery through repetition. Every transformation, whether physical, financial, emotional, or personal, is the product of small efforts multiplied by time. Time is the amplifier. Consistency is the fuel. Momentum is the outcome. And once momentum arrives, everything changes. Momentum makes you efficient. It makes you fast. It makes your goals feel closer. It makes your discipline easier. It makes your path clearer. It creates a psychological force where stopping becomes harder than continuing. That's when you become dangerous, when your consistency is so strong that quitting feels unnatural. The world can't stop a person who has built that level of momentum, because it's not just effort anymore. It's identity, it's habit, it's energy, it's direction. So never underestimate what your small steps are doing for you. Never disrespect the little actions just because they don't produce instant fireworks. Never think you are moving too slowly. Slow is powerful when it is consistent. Slow becomes fast when it compounds. Slow becomes unstoppable when momentum finally ignites. Keep moving, keep stacking, keep showing up. Push the boulder a little every day until it starts rolling on its own. Because once momentum is on your side, you don't chase success. Success chases you. Excuses destroy futures, habits build them, and the moment you understand this truth at a soul-deep level, the entire direction of your life changes. Excuses are the poison that feels comfortable, the soft pillow that suffocates your potential, the quiet whisper that convinces you to accept a life far smaller than the one you're capable of living. Excuses sound logical. They sound protective. They sound harmless. But they are the most destructive force inside a human life because they give you permission to stay exactly where you are. Every time you choose an excuse, you choose delay. Every time you choose delay, you choose stagnation. And every day you stay stagnant, your future becomes smaller, weaker, duller. People don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they allow excuses to become their daily language. Habits, on the other hand, are the builders of destiny. You don't rise by accident, you rise by behavior. You don't achieve greatness through talk, you achieve it through repetition. Every small habit you build is a vote for the person you want to become, and every excuse you use is a vote for the person you're trying to escape. Life is brutally fair in this way. It doesn't care what you intend, it only responds to what you do. If your actions are built on excuses, your results will be built on regret. If your actions are built on habits, your results will be built on strength. Excuses are seductive because they feel emotionally valid. I'm tired, I don't have time, I'll start tomorrow. It's not the right moment. These sentences feel so rational that people accept them without realizing they are signing away their future one sentence at a time. Excuses keep you comfortable, but comfort keeps you average. Excuses save you from discomfort, but discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Excuses temporarily ease your mind, but permanently break your spirit. Every excuse you choose becomes a brick in the wall separating you from the life you want. Habits do the opposite. Habits take away the need for excuses because they remove the negotiation. When you build strong habits, you no longer ask yourself if you feel like doing the work. You do the work because it is who you are. Habits eliminate debate. They eliminate emotional confusion. They eliminate inconsistency. A strong habit system takes over the moment your motivation disappears, and that is why habits build powerful lives. They are sustained by structure, not mood. People who rely on motivation will always lose to the people who rely on habit. Excuses are rooted in fear. Habits are rooted in discipline. And discipline is the currency of every dream you want to chase. When you build disciplined habits, you're teaching yourself to act even when the fear is loud, even when the doubt is heavy, even when your past tries to pull you backward. Habits give you momentum. Excuses steal it. Habits give you clarity. Excuses blur your vision. Habits build confidence. Excuses destroy it. Confidence doesn't come from talking yourself up. It comes from proving to yourself each day that you follow through. Excuses make you distrust yourself. Habits make you trust yourself deeply. The reason excuses destroy futures is simple. The future is built in tiny daily decisions. You don't ruin your life in one moment. You ruin it through repeated avoidance, repeated delay, repeated justifications. And you don't build a legendary life in one explosive moment. You build it through repeated commitment, repeated discipline, repeated consistency. Every day you choose excuses. You dig yourself deeper into a hole where dreams die quietly. Every day you choose habits. You climb higher into a life where success becomes inevitable. Excuses are powered by feelings. Habits are powered by purpose. Feelings change. Purpose does not. When you live by feelings, you become unpredictable, unreliable, weak under pressure. When you live by habits, you become stable, focused, unstoppable. Strong habits make your future solid because they create patterns you can depend on. Weak excuses make your future fragile because they create patterns that collapse under the slightest challenge. The harsh truth is this: nothing in your life changes until your habits change. You can pray, you can hope, you can visualize, you can talk, you can complain, you can wish. But if your habits stay the same, your results will stay the same. Change is not a mystery. Change is a routine. Change is repetition. You become your habits long before you become your goals, so you must choose. Either you protect your excuses or you protect your future. You cannot do both. Excuses demand nothing but give you nothing. Habits demand effort but give you everything. Excuses comfort you today but punish you tomorrow. Habits challenge you today but reward you forever. The life you want is not hiding from you. It is waiting for you on the other side of your excuses. Build habits so strong they suffocate your excuses. Build routines so solid that quitting feels unnatural. Build discipline so sharp that your future bows to it. Because when habits take command of your life, excuses lose their power, your future expands, and success becomes not a possibility, but a consequence. Success doesn't reward intensity, it rewards endurance. And the moment you finally accept this truth, you stop chasing those short bursts of enthusiasm that burn bright for a day and disappear by morning. Intensity is seductive because it makes you feel powerful for a moment. It gives you a rush, a spark, a temporary surge of energy that convinces you you're about to change your whole life in a single day. But intensity without endurance is a firework, loud, bright, and gone before the smoke settles. Endurance is the slow-burning flame that never dies, the relentless force that keeps you moving long after excitement fades, long after motivation weakens, long after the emotional high disappears. Success belongs to the person who stays in the race when everyone else has already quit out of boredom, fatigue, or frustration. Intensity is emotional. Endurance is intentional. Intensity depends on mood. Endurance depends on discipline. Anyone can give everything for one day, but very few can give something every day. Intensity screams, "Look at me!" while endurance whispers, "I'll still be here tomorrow." Success hears the whisper, not the scream. The world is full of people who start strong, people who swear they're all in, people who set massive goals, people who make dramatic promises to themselves, but they collapse the moment the grind becomes routine and the work becomes unexciting. Meanwhile, the ones who endure quietly outwork them into irrelevance. Endurance wins because endurance stays when others fall. Success is a marathon disguised as a sprint. It tricks people who think short-term, who think effort alone is enough, who think passion can replace persistence. Passion fades, excitement fades, intensity fades. Only endurance remains. Endurance is where you force yourself to show up after the thrill is gone, where you push through boredom, push through uncertainty, push through frustration, push through doubt. When you keep going despite every reason to stop, that's when you begin to separate yourself from the weak, the inconsistent, the impatient. Endurance is the great divider in life, the force that reveals who wants results and who only wants the feeling of trying. Every great person you admire succeeded not because they had explosive moments of effort, but because they refused to quit during the slow, silent, unrewarded stretches. Endurance is what allows you to survive the long nights where nothing is happening, the dry seasons where progress is invisible, the difficult phases where your mind plays tricks on you. Anyone can endure when everything is going well. Real endurance is proven when nothing seems to be working. That's the battlefield where champions are forged. That's where grit is built. That's where mental toughness becomes unshakable. Success shows up only after endurance has been tested. Intensity is like sprinting with everything you have, then collapsing because your lungs are burning. Endurance is adjusting your pace, locking into a rhythm, and continuing long after the sprinters have exhausted themselves. Endurance builds mastery because it gives you time to refine your skills, understand your craft, build resilience, and strengthen your mind. You don't get better through one burst of extreme effort. You get better through thousands of small, steady efforts that compound over time. Intensity gives you a moment of improvement. Endurance gives you a lifetime of elevation. Endurance is consistency under pressure. It's the decision to stick to the plan even when your emotions argue against it. It's the discipline to train when tired, to work when uninspired, to focus when distracted, to rise when defeated. Endurance is the quiet power that makes you unstoppable because it removes the biggest enemy of success, quitting. If you endure long enough, the path clears. If you endure long enough, skill grows. If you endure long enough, opportunities appear. Most people never experience these breakthroughs because they never last long enough to reach them. Endurance is the key that unlocks every level of success that impatience denies you. Intensity wants results now. Endurance is willing to wait, willing to grind, willing to sacrifice comfort for longevity. Endurance understands that success is less about how fast you start and more about how long you can stay committed. It's not the dramatic moments that define your destiny. It's the hundreds of quiet days where you did the work anyway. Endurance is where identity changes. Once something becomes part of who you are, not just something you temporarily do, it becomes impossible to stop you. Endurance shapes identity. Intensity only shapes emotion. The truth is brutal. Success has no respect for emotional bursts. It respects the person who keeps showing up. It respects the one who refuses to break. It respects the one who understands that greatness is built through time, pressure, and persistence. Endurance is the companion of all real achievement. It outlasts fear, outlasts doubt, outlasts failure, outlasts fatigue. When you endure long enough, the resistance that once scared you becomes weak, and the obstacles that once overwhelmed you become irrelevant. Success is a reward for those who keep going when the excitement is gone, when the applause stops, when the results slow down, when the grind feels heavy. It is earned by the ones who stay disciplined when no one is watching, who stay focused when no one is encouraging, who stay committed even when everything inside them wants to stop. Endurance is the quiet superpower that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary forces. So stop chasing the rush. Stop relying on emotional highs. Stop expecting overnight victories. Build endurance. Build the ability to stay. Build the strength to remain when intensity dies. Because intensity might get you started, but endurance is what finishes the race. And success belongs only to the finishers. Your results are a reflection of what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally hope, and until you face that truth without excuses or sugarcoating, you will keep wondering why your life isn't changing. Hope is cheap. Hope is easy. Hope requires nothing. Anyone can hope for success, hope for discipline, hope for a better body, a stronger mind, a wealthier life, a sharper future. But hope changes nothing because hope is passive. Results come from repetition, daily decisions, daily actions, daily discipline, daily choices that align with the future you claim you want. Your life today is simply the accumulated evidence of your habits. Your actions reveal your true priorities, your true commitment, your true hunger. You can hope for greatness, but if your daily behavior is built on comfort, distraction, inconsistency, and emotional weakness, then your results will mirror that weakness. People fool themselves by believing that occasional effort matters. They think working hard once in a while is enough to earn transformation. They think a few intense days can replace months of consistency. They think good intentions compensate for lazy execution. But the truth is brutal. The person you become is shaped by what you do every day, not by what you do occasionally when you feel motivated. Occasional effort is a lie you tell yourself to avoid responsibility, a shield that makes you feel productive without requiring you to actually commit. The world rewards patterns, not moments. It rewards discipline, not bursts of energy. It rewards consistency, not sporadic motivation. Every repeated action you take becomes a part of you. Your habits carve your identity. Your routines shape your character. If you repeatedly procrastinate, you become a procrastinator. If you repeatedly quit early, you become someone who breaks under pressure. But if you repeatedly show up, even with small steps, you become someone who moves forward despite resistance. If you repeatedly choose discipline, you become disciplined. If you repeatedly choose growth, you become unstoppable. Life doesn't randomly assign outcomes. It reflects your behavior back at you with ruthless honesty. This is why wishing is worthless without work. You can hope for financial freedom, but if you repeatedly overspend, avoid learning new skills, and waste time, your bank account will expose your choices. You can hope for confidence, but if you repeatedly avoid challenges, avoid discomfort, and avoid responsibility, your self-esteem will reveal your avoidance. You can hope for strength, but if you repeatedly skip the work, your body will show the truth. Results are mirrors. They show exactly who you are in practice, not who you pretend to be in your mind. Repetition is the most powerful force in personal transformation because it reshapes the brain, reinforces behavior, and builds identity piece by piece. You are always becoming something, whether you realize it or not. Every day you either reinforce a weakness or reinforce a strength. Every day you are training yourself, training discipline or training laziness, training courage or training fear, training focus or training distraction. You cannot escape the consequences of your repeated behavior. Your life is a scoreboard of your habits. People say they want greatness, but their routines are designed for mediocrity. They want to improve, but they repeatedly waste time. They want success, but they repeatedly choose comfort. They want discipline, but they repeatedly choose excuses. They want change, but they repeatedly choose the same patterns that keep them stuck. They hope for a future they're not willing to work for. That contradiction destroys more dreams than failure ever could. If you want better results, you must build better repetitions. Not occasionally, daily, with consistency so firm that your goals stop being wishes and start becoming inevitabilities. The smallest repeated improvement becomes massive when multiplied by time. 1 page a day becomes books. 1 workout a day becomes strength. 1 disciplined choice a day becomes identity. 1 hour of focus a day becomes mastery. Results don't come from giant leaps. They come from consistent movement. Repetition also exposes your values. If you repeatedly invest time in distractions, then distractions are what you truly value, regardless of what you claim you want. If you repeatedly invest time in growth, then growth is what you truly value. It's not about your words, it's about your patterns. Life responds to patterns, not promises. To change your future, you must change your repetitions. Stop relying on motivation. Stop waiting for inspiration. Stop hoping for miracles. Build systems that force you to take action. Build habits that remove the negotiation with your emotions. Build routines that make discipline automatic. Because when your daily actions align with your future, your results become predictable. They become a reflection of your effort, not your excuses. The truth is simple. The life you want will come from what you repeatedly do, not from what you occasionally dream. Your habits are writing your future sentence by sentence. If you're not proud of your results, rewrite your patterns. If your habits don't match your goals, upgrade your habits. If your behavior doesn't match your desired identity, reshape your behavior. Don't hope for greatness. Repeat greatness until it becomes who you are, because the world doesn't give you what you hope for. It gives you what you consistently work for. When your actions become predictable, your success becomes inevitable, because life stops being a random gamble the moment you start behaving like someone who refuses to leave their destiny to chance. When you move with the same conviction every single day, when your effort shows up even when your emotions don't, when you stop negotiating with weakness and start operating from discipline, life begins to bend in your direction. Most people keep dreaming about success while acting like tourists in their own goals, showing up only when they feel inspired, motivated, or comfortable. But the ones who rise, the ones who dominate, the ones who reshape their entire reality, they are predictable. Not predictable in the sense of boring, but predictable in the sense of unstoppable. You can look at their actions today and know exactly where they'll be in 5 years because their actions speak louder than any wish or fantasy ever could. When you build predictable action, you build trust with your future. You create a pattern the universe cannot ignore. The world rewards those who remove randomness from their effort and replace it with consistency so unshakable that excuses dare not enter the room. Success is not a mystery, it is a calculation, an accumulation, a consequence. And the formula is written in what you repeat daily. If your habits whisper discipline, your results will shout achievement. If your habits whisper comfort, your results will scream regret. You cannot escape this truth. You either carve your destiny with deliberate repetition, or you surrender it through careless inconsistency. Predictability in your actions is not weakness, it is power. It is the power of someone who has mastered themselves. When you show up at the same hour to study, to train, to build, to grind, when you choose discipline over distraction, your mind learns that you are in control. And a controlled mind is a weapon. A predictable warrior is feared because their attack is relentless. A predictable creator is respected because their output never stops. A predictable achiever is envied because success gravitates toward consistency like iron to a magnet. Your predictability becomes your identity, and that identity becomes your advantage. Every day you repeat a strong action, you hammer a new groove into your destiny. Every day you choose structure over chaos, you sharpen your competitive edge. Every day you shut down excuses, you strengthen the muscle that most people neglect, the muscle of endurance. Predictable actions create unstoppable momentum, and that momentum carries you through storms that would break ordinary people. Others quit when it hurts. You continue because your pattern is stronger than your pain. Others wait for motivation. You move because movement is who you are. Others hope for results. You produce results because your behavior demands them. Success becomes inevitable when your actions are consistent enough to make quitting impossible. Not because you're superhuman, but because you've trained your life into alignment with your ambition. You've made discipline your default setting. You've made progress your daily rhythm. You've made commitment your autopilot. And when your autopilot is set to greatness, failure doesn't stand a chance. You become the person whose results shock everyone except yourself because you knew all along your effort was never optional. It was scheduled, it was repeated, it was engraved into your lifestyle. So build a life where your actions speak before your words, where your habits reveal your future more clearly than your dreams ever could, where your routine is so locked in that nothing, not fear, not fatigue, not doubt, can break it. When your actions become predictable, your success becomes inevitable because you've removed the roulette wheel from your destiny and replaced it with a roadmap. And once your life follows a roadmap lined with discipline, consistency, and repeated strength, there is only one destination left: victory. Consistency turns an ordinary person into an extraordinary force, because the moment you decide to show up every single day, whether you feel ready or not, you ignite a transformation inside you that no talent, no luck, no external advantage can compete with. Ordinary becomes extraordinary when repetition becomes your religion. The world bows to the one who keeps going long after everyone else has given themselves permission to quit. Most people rely on bursts of energy, flashes of motivation, moments of excitement that disappear the second life becomes inconvenient. But the person who stays consistent, who shows up again and again, who refuses to negotiate with laziness or excuses, that person becomes unstoppable, not because they were born special, but because they built themselves through deliberate, disciplined repetition. Consistency is the silent power that turns weakness into strength, doubt into confidence, and dreams into results. It is the grind nobody sees, the effort nobody applauds, the discipline nobody celebrates. But it's also the force that reshapes your identity to match your ambition. Every time you choose action over comfort, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. And those repeated votes, not the dramatic speeches you give yourself, not the grand intentions you proclaim, determine your destiny. If you repeat weakness, you stay weak. If you repeat discipline, you become powerful. Consistency is the sculptor, and your daily actions are the chisel carving your future. You don't need greatness to start, you need consistency to develop it. Greatness grows from the friction of daily effort. It grows from waking up tired and still moving forward. It grows from showing up when no one is watching. It grows from choosing your goals over your moods. That daily pressure builds character, sharpens your edge, and teaches you to trust yourself. Most people want extraordinary outcomes, but they reject the ordinary routine required to achieve them. They crave the mountain peak, but refuse the daily climb. They fantasize about success, but never build the habits that success demands. But when you commit to consistency, you don't just climb the mountain, you reshape the entire landscape of your life. Consistency turns you into a force of nature because it removes uncertainty from your growth. It guarantees progress. Even small steps, when repeated daily, accumulate into massive breakthroughs. You can't stay at the same level when you show up every day with intention. You either improve through discipline or decline through neglect. There is no neutral. And the one who chooses improvement day after day becomes someone that obstacles fear. Pressure can't break you because you've trained under it. Failure can't stop you because you've learned to rise from it. Distractions can't seduce you because your commitment is louder than your impulses. Most people remain ordinary not because they lack potential, but because they lack consistency. They let feelings decide their actions. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment. They wait for clarity. But winners don't wait. Winners act. Winners show up. Winners grind through doubt, through fear, through exhaustion, because they understand that consistency isn't about feeling good. It's about becoming great. It's about forming an identity built on discipline so firm that excuses bounce off it like weak blows against a steel wall. The consistent person doesn't ask, "Can I?" They ask, "Will I?" And the answer is always yes. If you want to become extraordinary, stop chasing shortcuts and start embracing consistency. Look at your life honestly. What do you repeat every day? Are your habits building your future or destroying it? Are your actions creating strength or feeding weakness? The truth is simple. Your consistency reveals your destiny before your results do. If you practice power every day, power becomes your reality. If you practice distraction, you become a distraction. If you practice commitment, you become unstoppable. Success is not a miracle, it is a pattern. It is the natural consequence of repeated discipline. Every day you stay consistent, you tilt the game in your favor. You stack wins, you build momentum, you create a life that bends toward your goals. Over time, the world begins to see what you've been building in silence. They start calling you lucky. But you know the truth. You earned every inch by showing up when they didn't. Consistency turns an ordinary person into an extraordinary force because it forges a mind that refuses to surrender, a heart that refuses to weaken, and a spirit that refuses to settle for average. No excuses, no pauses, no negotiations. You become unstoppable because your actions announce your destiny long before the world recognizes it. Keep going, keep building, Keep repeating the work that ordinary people run from. Consistency is the key, and once you master it, nothing, absolutely nothing, can deny you the extraordinary life you're carving with your own hands. Consistency turns an ordinary person into an extraordinary force, and the conclusion is brutally simple. You will either rise because of what you repeat, or you will rot because of what you avoid. Your future is not shaped by the days you felt inspired, it's shaped by the days you felt nothing and still showed up. Every repeated action becomes a brick in the empire you are building or a crack in the foundation you are destroying. The world doesn't reward wishful thinking, talent without discipline, or intensity without endurance. It rewards the one who keeps moving when others stall, the one whose effort is reliable, the one whose commitment never goes missing. If you want a life that shocks the world, then master the one habit that guarantees transformation: daily, disciplined, predictable consistency. Keep showing up. Keep pushing. Keep proving that ordinary is optional. When your grind becomes your identity, success has no choice but to bow.